Get the cream, precious metals or the crypto things. Your bars are light like the one that's on the Smith machine. But my Maxwell and I ain't speaking about the pretty wings.
Welcome to 3 Count Commentaries. This Raw drained all of the life out of me. This was the longest 3 hours I've come across in a long time. What a long show. Have mercy, bro. Jesus Christ. I feel like we got nothing done in this show. They didn't start off Kevin Owens' heel turn with much fervor. They didn't. Now, they did score with Liv Morgan and Becky Lynch. I think that was pretty good. I like the closing angle, too. I like the hypocrisy in it. There are some other things that I thought were okay about the show. I think some of the matches were okay. But it seemed like it was a holding pattern. This was not a go-home show. This was, hey, we got to have Raw this week, but we got nothing. So here's 2 big marquee matches in Finn Balor and Kevin Owens, and Lashley versus Rey Mysterio. But we're not going to put any real significance onto either one of them, and they're just going to be shuffled or built or even made at some point in the middle of the show. This is one thing that I do like about Dynamite, is they do actually release what matches will be taking place on the show, because it make it seem like, hey, there's a schedule. Here you have to actually be watching the show to know what's actually going to happen. And while that's okay, at the same time, when you do that, you make people tune out early. So let's say I didn't really care about the rest of the show because I don't know what's going to happen, and you're not performing a character or a story that is in any way engaging, or it feels like whatever I was engaged with is already over, and therefore I move on. You're not giving me anything else to look forward to. So by not telling me anything, there's nothing else for me to look forward to. You could at least, at the very least, promote some type of an announcement. Adam Pearce is going to make an announcement regarding Survivor Series, and it's very important. And then you kind of drag along through that, and maybe you say he's going to make his announcement after the main event, and he says what the main event is going to be, and then his announcement is going to be Rey Mysterio is off the team, and then replaced by Austin Theory. That could be, just something that you played with throughout the night. Instead of, we're going to have the first 35 minutes of the show be Big E and his various storylines. And then once that's over, essentially that's over. Those people never cross paths again. And those people never show up again. So it's like, I don't know, man. But this show was hard to watch. It was hard to watch. So I'm going to review the show. We'll see how, in what way that comes out. But, Let's see what we got here. All right, so Big E starts the show, and he talks about how so many people are after him, but he's focused on Roman Reigns because Roman Reigns made it personal. He attacked his family, put his hands on his family, but he's going to get to Roman on Sunday. But right now, he wants to fight that treacherous lion-ass Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens comes out there and says that he's going to be the bad guy that everyone wants him to be. And since perception is reality and everybody wants to perceive him as being the bad guy, that's what he's going to be. And then, of course, he lies and says he's going to come down there and beat up Big E. Big E, demands him to come out there. Kevin Owens walks away. Big E chases him, gets attacked by the Usos, who apparently can just show up whenever they want. It was cool the first time, but this brand-to-brand invitational thing is supposed to be quarterly. I'm pretty sure it's the same quarter. Unless it wasn't. Was it 3 months ago that they last time they were on Raw? I don't know. But the Big E fights with the Usos. Riddle comes out there to make the save, which is really random. This leads to the oddball tag team match: Riddle and Riddle and Big E versus the Usos. This match is of course thrown out because Seth Rollins is at ringside. It becomes a 6-man tag because after Randy Orton comes in to save Riddle and Big E, this makes Riddle, Big E, and Randy Orton versus Seth and the Usos. Seth Rollins wins by rolling up Riddle and pinning him. This took damn near 40 minutes to get a 6-man tag out of the way. And of course, they did the bullshit disqualification. Nope, restart. I hate this so much. I hate when shit feels slapdash. There's a way to make things feel chaotic and interesting without them feeling like you're just throwing shit at the wall. And whenever Raw starts with these slapdash ass matches, it always feels like, all right, the rest of the show is going to be absolute trash. They threw so much star power in this first 30 minutes that you pretty much could have tuned out for the rest of the show anyway. Because there's nothing else being planned for the show. You don't know what any other characters on the show is doing, but you got Randy Orton, Big E, the Usos, and Seth Rollins all in one segment. So who else is there? Okay, you got Kevin Owens and Finn Balor, but you're going to shove them deeper into the show. Becky Lynch, they didn't announce anything for her. She's pushed deeper into the show. That's if you consider Becky Lynch or you consider Kevin Owens or Finn Balor to be sort of big stars. And then they didn't really promote anybody else. So you don't promote anything. You don't promote anybody. Now, was this a hard sell for Survivor Series? Yes. After the match, Big E told the Usos, tell your daddy Roman Reigns, message received, hits him with a big ending. And then it says that it's on, chumps, message received. I'm gonna take a piece of you, can't get back. All right, so they really did a good job of at least acknowledging that Survivor Series is this Sunday. They did a harder sell for the Becky Lynch angle, but the Big E angle was fine too. They're trying to make these champion versus champions match personal. They know that the brand supremacy idea is really, really stupid and outdated, which doesn't even make sense. Again, there's no stakes. There's nothing on the line. There's nothing really no reason to win or care about losing or anything like that. So throughout the show was just promos after this. And a bunch of people saying, after Survivor Series, I'm going to get my hands on you after Survivor Series. So Kevin Owens creates a paradox in which he told the truth about being a liar. And I was like, okay, he's still on the cusp of being a freshly turned heel. And maybe you don't want to go and flip into straight psychotic mode, but I don't like that Kevin Owens is still kind of jokey. And I would like for him to, and I also don't like, I'm still not a fan of how he works matches as a heel, but we'll get to that in one moment. Finn Balor come out there and said that, hey, I wasn't here last week when you went around asking people to trust you, but I can say I didn't trust you one bit. And, announced that they'll be having a match. And they went out there and had a pretty good match between Finn Balor and Kevin Owens. But there was, again, nothing on the line. And having somebody get beat for no reason seems to me to make no sense. Sure, it gives Kevin Owens a quality win over a quality name. But when was the last time Finn Balor won a match that really, really mattered? He's since the whole thing with Roman Reigns, I think he's been sub 500 since the match with Roman Reigns and the top rope broke. They have not in any way rebuilt Finn Balor from that. It's just been downhill ever since. He should have been the one to turn heel. He should have been the one to turn heel. But whatever. And then Kevin Owens beat him clean. He didn't cheat. He just beat him clean. Whatever, man. Seth Rollins said he's born to lead. He's going to lead the Usos. After Survivor Series, he's going to win the WWE Championship and lead the A Show to the mountaintop. That would be interesting. Got a theory about this whole Raw thing, but we'll discuss that in another video because I don't want to get into it. I feel like I get lost in here. But here's some interesting character stuff. Randy Orton got really mad at Riddle and told him to stop playing the hero. And it says that, getting involved with other people's business doesn't really get you anywhere. And he laid down how Riddle got involved with the Usos, which was a mistake. And then he got involved with the Street Profits, and that was a mistake. And in both instances, he got his ass beat. And Randy Orton is like, hey, look, focus on yourself on these tag team titles. I don't care about nothing but these tag team championships. And Riddle was, kind of gave him some bullshit, response. But I really found this to be very interesting before they went into the whole, joke with Riddle wanting to smoke with the Usos. Not the Usos, but the Street Profits. What really kind of blew my mind on this is that Randy Orton isn't really trying to turn Riddle heel. He just wants Riddle to be smart. He wants Riddle to not be stupid. He's saying, hey, heroism is stupid. Trying to protect people is stupid. It's a very interesting thing where it's not necessarily a heel turn, but it is a heel thing to say. To tell people, hey, you see somebody getting jumped or beat up, just mind your own business, man. Just, turn the other cheek. Let it happen. It's like, no, if you're really a good person, you wouldn't let it happen. And I think they really did a good job here of finally doing something interesting with Rated RK Bro. With RK Bro, is setting up how different these characters are. That Randy Orton is still a don't trust anybody, out for self, cutthroat kind of guy. He's always been that. He still is that. And even though he's in this tag team, that has not changed. And him abandoning Riddle all this time has been about him trying to teach Riddle this philosophy. While Riddle is good-natured, naive, but he's always willing to do the right thing. He's like Lassie. Like he's a loyal, faithful little puppy. He's always going to come out there and try to help. He's always going to, so it's weird. But I do enjoy that. And I think that that's a nice story that could potentially lead to their breakup. As if Riddle continues to be nice and put the titles in danger, and Randy just says, fuck it, I can't deal with this guy. And that's going to be like the hard break between them is in their philosophies, and Riddle wanting to be nice and constantly dragging Randy into things Randy doesn't want to be involved with. That could be interesting. That could be fun. We could tell that story, and I actually enjoy that. It's an interesting little angle that they're building there. Too bad they didn't give it a lot of time, but they have been doing this for the last couple of weeks. So that ought to be good. So the next segment was Bianca Belair wanting to fight Doudrop. She said Doudrop got her name in her mouth. Doudrop said what she said. She did what she did. Now she stuck her nose in her business. It's time to deal with that. Tamina walked up and challenged Bianca Belair to a match. They had the match, to which it was probably it made me drowsy. That's for sure. It's longer than it should have been. I get that they want to make Tamina seem somewhat significant, but this entire thing was all about showing Bianca Belair's strength and that she can lift women who are bigger than she is. And this is what she gave the KOD to Tamina, and she did it pretty good. With a little bit to spare, because it's kind of going to show you that Doudrop, you look at it and say, how is Bianca Belair going to pick up Doudrop? And again, it gives you that she can lift. She can lift Otis. She lifted Otis when she did the whole thing with Bayley. And here it is, it's showing you again she can lift women bigger than she is. And and so it kind of telling you the story. Doudrop is not, it's as tremendous as it, that KOD was, and it really popped the crowd. Doudrop is not so big that she's too big for Bianca Belair. So then Doudrop comes out there sounding like Roddy Piper and said that it wouldn't be fair for her to come down to the ring and fight Bianca Belair right now, but she'll come and fight her after Survivor Series. And I just said to myself, this is obviously a joke, right? Obviously Doudrop is going to attack Bianca while she's, packing her bags into her car or something. You're a heel. Why do you care about what's fair and what's not? I don't know, man. It seemed like they just had to have her say something or had to have her do something, when I think it probably would have been much better if they did, Doudrop attacking Bianca Belair backstage, as she says, okay, well, since Doudrop don't want to fight me tonight, I guess I'll take my leave. I had my match. I got paid. I'm out of here. And then maybe as she's, changing clothes or whatever, Doudrop attacked her and beat her ass. And it's also very weird that Doudrop still has that funky pop music that she's got. They need to hurry up and change that. They need to get rid of that if she's going to be a heel. I'm okay with the Bianca Belair and Doudrop angle. I've seen a lot of people really kind of lose their shit especially the same people who was clamoring for the 2-year storyline, which featured at one point Hangman Page involved in feuds with Brian Cage and being drunk with the Dark Order riding a lawnmower. That because Bianca Belair didn't beat Becky Lynch immediately after losing at SummerSlam, that storyline is over. It's like it's not really over as much as you put pauses on things. They're not going to have Bianca Belair beat Becky Lynch in the middle of some B grade pay per view, or even maybe they would do it on Raw, but they're probably not going to do that on a B grade pay per view. They're probably going to save it up for a big show. And the next big show, I believe, is going to be the Day 1 show. They're probably going to want to hit that one pretty hard. So, who knows? And it's always entirely possible WWE doesn't even go back to it because WWE doesn't always follow plans. But just because they don't touch on something every single week doesn't necessarily mean that it's over. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's dead. Occasionally, they double back to things. And they double back to things for big shows. So, I think we need to just let things slide for a little while. And plus, Bianca doesn't need to continuously be in the top storyline. Let Becky have this run. Becky was gone for a year. She kind of had her thing that she wanted to do. And this thing involved Liv Morgan. So let's get right into the whole Liv Morgan thing. So Becky Lynch come out there and cut this scathing promo on Charlotte. And to be quite honest, the Charlotte-Becky Lynch match and feud is seriously very awkward. Because both of them are very unlikable. And they're both heels. So they come across as being heelish. But of course, Becky gets the anti-Charlotte response. Which, of course, leads a lot of wrestling journalists to say, oh, she's not really a heel. Look at how this heel turn is working. She's getting cheered in the building. I'm like, she's dissing Charlotte. I mean, are you serious? She's sitting here cutting a promo on Charlotte and the crowd agrees everyone hates Charlotte. This is why you don't do heel versus heel anyway, because the crowd would just pick a favorite. They'd be like, oh, well, you know what? We all hate Charlotte. We all agree. Yes. We all like Becky Lynch. Yay, Becky. But then as soon as Becky started cutting a heel promo on Liv Morgan, they booed her again. So yeah, it's kind of like it's working. And she's doing a good job at it. So she cut this heel promo on Charlotte, where she talked about how, and Becky Lynch did a great job here. Because it was shortly after Charlotte's little BT Sport interview came up. I think that came up like 30 minutes before Raw started, maybe even an hour. Where Charlotte was responding to people saying that she was, quote, difficult to work with. By saying, because I stand up for myself, I'm difficult to work with. Would you say that about a man? Would you say that about a man? Which is, of course, she's playing the vaginal card. Her coochie coupon. I could get away with being a complete and total bitch because you wouldn't complain about a man being a bitch. I stand up for myself. Yeah, right. Let's talk about Cena and Reigns. When did they grow boobs? When did they get ovaries? People don't like them either. They stood up for themselves and, the business pretty much fell in their lap. And people don't like that. People don't like it when you feel like you've been handed everything. And so Becky Lynch, knowing that people feel that way about Charlotte, positioned herself as sort of the underdog. That, I was Charlotte's friend. But being Charlotte's friend is conditional. Charlotte's friendship means that you let Charlotte be the star. And you always play backup to her. But, that's not who she is. Becky Lynch was made to be a star on her own. And she says she recreates herself time and time again. While Charlotte doesn't. And this has made Charlotte so bitter she doesn't even like herself. And say that this is not about brand supremacy this Sunday. It's about her personal legacy. And that was, I think, very good. Becky Lynch does a great... She flubs some words here and there in that joint. But so what? It's not always going to be perfect. We're alive, pal. So it is what it is. But, of course, she positioned herself as being the underdog babyface. And Charlotte is the big domineering heel who is a complete and total bitch. And the only way to be Charlotte's friend is on Charlotte's terms. And if you want any success for yourself, you have to strike out on your own, and that makes Charlotte upset. And this is a good angle because this is what people already believe. This is what people already believe, and the whole thing. And Charlotte had another, it might have been Becky Lynch, one of the two, had another little thing where they came out talking about, the four horsewomen have this unbreakable bond, despite the fact they all have heat with each other, and only Sasha and Becky Lee seem to be really friends. Everyone else tries to stab each other in the back every chance they get. How bizarre that turns out to be. In any event, Becky Lynch did a great job of positioning herself as a babyface in that scenario and had a great response. People really cared about her and what she was talking about. They really believed her, and they bought into her story. And then Liv Morgan came out there. And Liv Morgan says, hey, I'm not going to let you just disregard me again. I'll let you walk away from me again. So Becky Lynch said, look, I kind of anticipated you coming out here, which was, I think, a pretty interesting way to throw to a video package. Like, I kind of figured you was going to come out here and get in my face and start talking all this yin yang. At that point, Becky Lynch decided she did something that I felt like, Kenny Omega should have done. And it was a mistake that I think that AEW made, is they let Kenny Omega go out there and talk about how he wanted Hangman Page to be world champion. And he wanted to be the guy standing across the ring from Hangman Page and all that bullshit. And I've talked about that on this channel a lot. Becky Lynch had kind of put herself in that situation where she told Liv Morgan, hey, you're going to be a champion one day. And Liv Morgan believed it. And Liv Morgan, in this video that they show was from Talking Smack, that she said, oh yeah, I wish I could take it from Becky Lynch. And now Becky Lynch is like, whoa, whoa, whoa. My plan was for you to win the title while I was gone. But you failed fantastically at that. You didn't do anything since I was gone. And now that I'm back, you're never going to be the champion. Too bad, so sad, you missed the boat. I thought that was excellent. It was excellent. So if you thought Becky Lynch is just going to do the job to Liv Morgan and put her on the next level and all that kind of stuff, no. You misunderstood, Liv Morgan. You were supposed to win the title while I was gone. I said that to motivate you so that you can go and do better. Instead, you flopped and you fumbled the ball that I so graciously handed you. Embarrassed Liv Morgan a little bit there. And, it was pretty easy to do so. Because Liv Morgan has been sort of a leaf in the breeze so far, with unfocused and without really a rudder in the water to push her along. And Becky Lynch said, okay, look, you're going to have this little match. You're probably going to lose. And that's going to be it. But I like that when she tried to drop Liv Morgan countered the hold, which I guess makes her slightly more prepared than Becky Lynch had ever believed she would be. This led to, of course, Becky Lynch to bail because she's the heel in this situation. And Liv Morgan picks up the title to sort of tease the big win. And it's not going to happen. It's not happening. It's a nice storyline for Liv. She showed up. She showed a little bit of fire here. I don't see... I think this is going to be a decent to good storyline here. We still have to define who Liv Morgan is. This character that she has is still, like I said, very immature. And they do a good job of really showing Liv Morgan's immaturity. It's just like a kid for you to give them some sage advice or some motivation and then for them to do nothing with it, right? It's just like you sit down with a kid and you tell them all these great stuff and all this. You drop gems on them and you coach them along. And then you send them on their way and they do almost the exact opposite. They go home and start eating potato chips and playing video games. Like, I think we've always been there. Like, we've all been there at some point. And that's kind of how I see, the Liv Morgan character, is that she was given the opportunity, the motivation by somebody who, took time out of her day to make Liv Morgan feel special. And Liv Morgan was kind of like, you know what? I'm going to go back and be in the Riot Squad. And then the Riot Squad was gone. So everybody's like, oh, okay. So now Becky Lynch is back and Liv Morgan thinks, oh, it's my time now, my time to beat Becky Lynch for the title. And Becky Lynch is like, nah, there was other times for that, you know. And I felt like that's the way that Omega and Hangman should have gone. Is that instead of just yelling from the rooftop that Hangman is going to win and I'm going to be the one to give you the belt, it should have been whatever chance you had is gone. You know, we believed in you until you did this or until you did that, until you blew it here, until you blew it there. And then, you know, now it's fuck you. Bye. You know, get out of here. They can't, of course, go that far in WWE, but they can show that Liv Morgan didn't really apply to herself. And maybe now she is. And that's a good storyline for her and her character. It's to show that Liv Morgan actually cares now. And this is a chance that she's been trying to get her entire life. And but I still don't think she's going to win. I don't see why she would win. It would be almost catastrophic for her to win. But this was a great segment. It was truly a great segment. And I think that both women came out looking pretty good. I didn't have no problems with this. I did have a problem with the tag team match of Amos and AJ Styles versus the Dirty Dogs. I don't want to talk about this. So guess what? I'm not going to talk about it. Let's move on to Street Profits and the Alpha Academy. They had a solid match. I don't care about that either. But they really have cooled off the Street Profits a little too much. Like the Street Profits are a little too cool. Like I get, you know, moving them out of the tag team title picture because they were essentially the only real tag team. But since there was no backup feud for them, they've just been aimless and constantly wrestling the Alpha Academy. And they have good matches with Alpha Academy, absolutely. But character stuff matters. Being in the top spots matter. Unless the Street Profits are going to wrestle RK Bro, which I think they already wrestled them and lost, we need a secondary feud for them, something for them to do. Apparently, we don't have anything. And Alpha Academy just keeps taking one step forward and two steps back. They give Gable and Otis some TV time. They even have them some matches with the WWE champion. And then this week, they don't have no interaction with Big E at all. And then they just lose to the Street Profits, and that's it. Whatever. Very, very, very odd booking. All right, so Rey Mysterio confronted Adam Pearce about Dominic. He said they had a verbal agreement that Dominic would be on the team. And then asked him if he was a man of his word. Well, Adam Pearce said that, you know, Rey needs to stay in his lane. And that he's going to wrestle Bobby Lashley. This leads, of course, Bobby Lashley to wrestling Rey Mysterio. And they had a pretty good match. You know, I don't know how many matches these guys have had against each other. I would have liked for them to save this match to something with some serious build to it. Maybe even a title or something on the line. Something that makes this match really matter. And I get that it's built up through, you know, Lashley completely physically mauling Dominic the previous week. But I just felt like there could be more there. And I certainly think that you could have announced this and put some heat on it. And really, really, really built it up more. But these two guys had a good match, despite the fact that Rey had a couple of botches in it. You know, a couple of big mistakes, big visible mistakes too. But that just comes with Lucha Libre. You know, you're going to botch and fuck it up at some point. After the hard-fought, very solid match between Lashley and Mysterio, Adam Pearce makes the announcement that for Rey's safety and for the betterment of Team Raw, he is going to replace Rey Mysterio within the Survivor Series team. And Dominic is kind of distraught. And I like, before we get to the big reveal of who is going to take his place, I did like that Dominic did not immediately jump in the ring. As Rey was suffering in the hurt lock, Dominic was grimacing, but he wasn't getting in the ring immediately. He waited. And he waited until Lashley was done doing what he was doing. It was kind of a dare, an implicit dare for Lashley to say, get in here and stop me. What you going to do about it? And for Dominic to be like, no. You know? Like he tucked his chain, you know? So when Lashley was done, then Dominic got in the ring. And I think that was important because, you know, the dirt sheets, of course, have started spelling this out. Even though everybody who just plain watches the goddamn show knows that Mysterio's breakup is coming. But, you know, there's stuff like that that can lead to the breakup, where Dominic isn't showing the best characteristics. Him being ill-tempered, him being hot-headed, him being sort of cowardly, him not wanting to get in there and fight Lashley to save his dad, knowing that his dad would have got in the ring and fought to save him, And Ray is going to be understanding because he's, super dad Ray. He's going to be understanding maybe the first time that it happens. But so everybody knows that Mysterio is about to be broken up. I just wish they had been broken up in the draft. And not, they likely will never wrestle each other. And they need to not try to force that issue. Or, you can set up the match. You can set up the match of Ray versus Dominic. And Ray just refuses to wrestle the match. Which I think would be the best way to do it. I would actually do it in a very interesting way where I would set up the match. But Ray would just, put his hands behind his back and let Dominic do whatever he wants to do. Like, you want to hit me, go ahead. You want to clothesline, drop kick me, go ahead. But I'm not fighting you back. And then you just put the heat on Dominic by having him slap Ray, but Ray not wanting to fight back. And just eventually Dominic hits him with something, and knocks him out and pins him. But Ray never fought him back. And he won the match. He kind of feel like a big guy for doing it, but Ray never fought him back. I think that would be a really cool angle to do with them. And it could really get both Ray and Dominic over. A little too heavy-handed for wrestling, though. I don't think they're willing to do anything like that. I think it would be too traumatic for some people to see Dominic beat the hell out of his dad, and for his dad to not defend himself. And plus, you would have to get the whole entire family involved, like Angie and the dickhead daughter and all that kind of stuff. But the Mysterios breaking up is fine. They should have broken up a long time ago. Not that I hate tag teams, but I just think that Dominic needs to be out on his own for a while and develop a character and personality that's all his own. And I think he's better suited to do that. And I think Ray getting him started was a good thing. But I think it's time for us to move on. All right, speaking of moving on. Ray is out of Survivor Series, and he gets replaced by Austin Theory, who attacks Dominic and hits him with the ATL, which is essentially a face buster. It's like I don't know. His move is too complicated. He need to get something else. And he takes, of course, the selfie, and Adam Pearce likes his swag and puts Austin Theory on Team Raw. Of course, violating what he said about Dominic Mysterio just last week. But he's a heel. He don't have to be consistent. He's a heel. He doesn't have to tell the truth. He's a heel. So he went from, I only want champions on this team, to, all right, Ray is off the team. Get out of here. Beat it. Austin Theory is my guy now. Okay, cool. So I'm guessing they're going to put a young guy on the SmackDown team too. Likely, maybe Von Wagner. Could it be Von Wagner they can put on the SmackDown team? Could it be some other young guy that they call it fresh up from NXT? Having one young guy on each team, it seems okay to me. I think they're doing something smart there by trying to utilize Survivor Series to get over some of their younger, fresher talent, like Shotzi, like Austin Theory. They're taking some chances. It's not really a huge chance because it's a crowded match. If they suck, get them out of there fast. If they do okay, then they get over, they look good. Of course, we know that 2019 they did all that work on Keith Lee, and look at how that turned out. But ultimately, I think Survivor Series is a good opportunity to showcase younger talent. I think that it's a good opportunity to do so. I don't see why you wouldn't do that. So Austin Theory being on the team won't get any complaints from me outside of I just don't like Austin Theory's gimmick, and I think we should be doing something different with him. I don't see what the snapshots and stuff like that. I don't understand what all that's going to be about. But I'm okay with him taking Ray's spot, and I'm okay with Adam Pearce lying about it and being a douchebag and just saying, I'm going to fuck these baby faces. And he's doing it because Ray got in his face earlier about Dominic. So what more response do you need? I've seen a lot of dirt sheet writers say, oh, well, why should Adam Pearce care about the SmackDown team or the Raw team, considering he's the GM of both? And while that's true, it actually leads to a pretty good question. it kind of puts him in this the Cesar Duran situation from MLW where he just wants to see the best fight. Wants to see the best match possible, or wants to put forth the best match possible. I don't think the guy needs to say that. If it really doesn't matter, then why not just have R-Truth, Akira Tozawa, Drake Maverick, or whatever represent Team Raw? So what? And they can fight whoever the low card guys on SmackDown are. But that's not what they do. They do basically superstars, or people they're trying to build. And there's going to be, and I like that they announced the Survivor Series card now. Or I like that they announced the matches now, because now they can do the arbitrary, we're taking this guy out of the match. And that is doing a good job of getting heat, because people are getting real pissed about it. People are getting real pissed about it. They thought Aaliyah was going to be on the Survivor Series team. They were so excited, and then they found out she got taken off. They was like, oh, man, what? Why would you do that? And they say, oh, Dominic is going to be on the team. And everybody complained Dominic was going to be on the team. And then Dominic was taken off and replaced with Bobby Lashley. Everybody was like, yes, good. He was out. Now Ray is out. And people are like, wait a minute. What's going on here? It's like, you got Adam Pearce he's on a power trip. And because he's on a power trip, he's just doing whatever he wants. And that, it works. They announced these teams. And then they just said, you know what? Fuck this team. I'm going to do whatever I want. I'm just going to do my thing, dog. And they butchering this match. And now they're moving it back towards the people that they really wanted in the first place. And yes, it is qualifying matches with extra steps. Yes, it is. Sure. But I think it's done in a more creative way. It gets you to the same result. But it gets you to the same result in a different way. And it utilizes more characters and utilizes decision making. Decision making is the lifeblood of characters. Because most of these guys don't know that their spot at Survivor Series is being on the line. Sami Zayn was straight up told his spot was on the line. But Ray didn't know that. Dominic was told. But some other people didn't know. Aaliyah didn't know. It was a complete and total surprise to her that she was removed from the team, and there was no reason given. It was just like, you're out. So Sonya Deville and Adam Pearce are complete douchebags who are going through breaking people's hearts, fucking with the audience, and saying we're doing what we want to do. We don't care about what we announced before. We're changing it because we can. And that's great heel shit. I don't care what you say. Saying I'm gonna change my mind because I want to. It's great heel shit. So I'm okay with all the changes. I just wish they had done it in a more interesting way, as far as not wasting so much time on this show. And I wish they just hard sold Survivor Series rather than try to do all types of other stuff. All right, so the last thing is they had 2 other women's matches on this show. Selena Vega versus Nikki Ash and Carmella versus Rhea Ripley. And of course, these are tie-ins to the Tag Team Championship storyline, because Nikki Ash wrestled Selena Vega and was defeated with the code red. Rhea was very disappointed in Nikki losing. Everybody's disappointed in Nikki losing. Nikki is a loser. Carmella then trash talked Rhea outside the ring. Rhea removed her jacket, got in the ring and ready to fight Carmella, who had to bail out the ring in order to put on her mask. Then, of course, she was defeated by Rhea Ripley, because why not? So they 50-50 booked it, even though it was singles matches. Zelina then told everyone that she congratulated Rhea Ripley on her victory. She's still putting on this bad accent, which is actually very funny, because she's pulling a Booker T where she's doing the accent when she's doing her queenly proclamations. Then she gets pretty normal on them after the fact. Booker T would swing completely in the other direction. Oh, hell no! What the hell is wrong with you, man? I used to love King Booker. So they kind of doing a King Booker style thing with Zelina Vega. So, all right, whatever. In any event, she said that they're going to be stars at Survivor Series, while Nikki is going to be at home with the rest of the losers. So they're really telling the story of really hitting Nikki pretty hard, that she loses and she's not on Survivor Series and stuff like that. which means they're setting her up as being the underdog babyface. So, in storytelling, she would be the hero of the day, and would be the reason why they keep the tag team titles by probably beating Carmella or something. I do believe that you're probably better off getting the titles off of Nikki and Rhea and moving Rhea up to wrestle Becky. I think that's what everybody wants at this point. I know a lot of people kind of like Liv Morgan, but I think Liv Morgan is a stopgap. She's gonna probably just get beat on a regular episode of Raw, and we'll revisit that storyline later. But I think Rhea Ripley is the real threat to Becky Lynch literally dropping the belt. I don't really see her, because I just feel like if you're one of the four horsewomen, each one should have sort of their underling that they're kind of working with. Kind of like the little buddy system in AEW. Like Sasha and Bianca. Sure, you put the time in for Sasha to work a extended storyline with Bianca Belair. So then you would have Rhea Ripley and Charlotte. That's perfectly fine too. They had a 2-year storyline. Okay, cool. They had the WrestleMania 37 match in the empty arena, and then they revisited that thing the next year. So cool. And I think that Rhea Ripley has proven to be a bit of a thorn in the side of the four horsewomen. She's been a champion already. She's beaten Asuka. So she has some credentials. So we're in this, and I think she's a legitimate threat. But I think Becky has to have her own. And it seems to me that they've chosen Liv Morgan to be Becky's sort of protege in this situation, which means Bayley has to have one too. But I don't see who that could be. And I think the closest would probably be Nikki, considering she worked for Nikki almost the whole pandemic thing, but she didn't quite drop the belt to Nikki. But they ended up giving Nikki the belt off Charlotte and not Bayley, but whatever. So it seems like Liv Morgan is probably going to end up being Becky Lynch's little buddy, and that works for a little while, but eventually, I think ultimately the biggest threat to her losing the title is to Rhea Ripley, and because I just think that Rhea Ripley is the most ready, and she's the one that I think the company more likely is willing to push. So if Bianca has to move out of the way, which I'm okay with, I do think that Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan are the next at bat. Selena Vega and Carmella as the tag team champions work well. They need to utilize actual tag teams in the tag team division. I think would be much better. I think Carmella and Dana Brooke is a better team. I think Selena Vega doesn't really need to be in a tag team with Carmella. I don't see I mean, yes, they were involved when they were on SmackDown, but I just don't see these characters having enough in common. Where Dana Brooke is so undefined that you can do something different with her, and you can actually have her being Carmella's sort of muscle, and that could be an interesting thing, an interesting position for Dana Brooke to be in. And it's a nice spot. If you're going to replace Mandy Rose with anybody on Raw, Carmella would be the one, because the characters are equally vapid. So I think that would have been fine. I really don't think Zelina should be in a tag team feud, because I don't see the tag team titles as being defended well or booked well. But at the same time, I also don't see Zelina being the one that they'll put over Becky. I just don't see that happening at all. So in that situation, I think we'll have to look at who would Bayley work with as sort of her underling, So maybe, I think if I were to look at the character of Bayley, I would say it would more than likely probably be Toni Storm. Or if not Toni Storm, then maybe Aaliyah. But it ought to be interesting to see what they do on that respect. But each one of the horsewomen trying to elevate another woman works for me. It's just about the consistency of it. Like having all of Sasha's hard work, putting over Bianca, get thrown in the trash for Becky Lynch. And I'm not saying that storyline is over, But I'm saying that 26 seconds was absolute bullshit. I will say that. All the work that, you know, Asuka and everyone else had done to put Rhea Ripley up just for her to lose to Charlotte in her first title defense against Charlotte was absolute bullshit. You know, and that kind of stuff is the kind of shit that people hate about this division. It's okay to, you know, for the chase to happen and to bring the chase and let the chase, you know, breathe. But, you know, these people with these clean losses, that's just stupid. Now, they were smart enough not to beat Bianca clean so that she could always come back and say she didn't really lose as much as, you know, Becky survived. But Rhea was definitely hurt by the clean losses. And then they put the belt on fucking Nikki, which was stupid. Now, I'm not for hot potato in the belt, which I think Becky Lynch will end up having it for a little while, which is number one reason why I don't think Liv Morgan is actually going to win it. I think Becky's probably going to lose the belt at WrestleMania. I'd see her if she were to get to day one with the title, and they don't do anything silly like have her lose to Liv Morgan and then win it back, which WWE is primed to do. Then I think she probably will end up wrestling Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania. That's my guess. And this whole tag team thing with Nikki is just something for Rhea to do while they let Becky have her run. Because I truly believe, and to be quite honest, I don't think Bianca and Rhea should be on the same brand. I just don't see them. It's two baby faces, and Bianca's a top baby face. I don't really see why she's on the same brand with Rhea. Because Rhea should be a top baby face. So they should have moved Rhea to SmackDown. So, but then again, you still had the Rhea and Charlotte stuff. I don't know. I'm just talking at this point. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll talk to you guys later.